what's up you guys, this is Rob from Guy Plays, and today on the hit list, it's all about slipping into something with the perfect fit when we target my top 5 favorite frames of 2016. Now I know that this year we were definitely a bit starved for new frames, but we did see several reworks that definitely put old frames back on my radar. From complete ability overhauls to minor tweaks, there were definitely some surprising shifts in what I enjoyed this year. However, one mainstay that remains true, much like last year, I am leaving Lowkey off of my favorites list. With the introduction of new weapons and mechanics, he tends to find a way to utilize them in the most opportunistic ways, which pretty much always lands him in my number 1 spot. So in all fairness, he will be bowing out of the competition as usual. One thing that you'll also notice with this hit list is that builds are left off, due to the fact that each frame I use utilizes multiple variants in order to get done what they need to get done. However, if you find it 100% necessary, I will be slipping in a playlist with my builds in the end card. Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's start scratching off targets. So at number 5, we've got Sarah. Now honestly, this was a bit of a rediscovery. As you guys know, I played her mainly as a melee brawler, which worked out fantastically this year due to the insane amount of melee weapons that were introduced, in tandem with the new status-focused melee mods, which when combined with her ability to spread viral and toxin, turn her into even more of a powerhouse. However, this year I did do a bit more experimenting, using her at range with regenerating molt alongside high accuracy weapons to pop spores. It turned into this awesome minigame to see how far you can spread it beyond the room you're currently in. Sometimes taking a look at old favorites and exploring what they can do beyond what you currently use them for can totally reinvigorate a frame. Now at number 4, we've got the reworked Nekros. I honestly did not expect this, but when I was taking a look back through the year, I stumbled on my Despoiled Shield conversion build, and I honestly completely forgot how fun it was to use. Mechanically it was complex, it had a lot of synergy between abilities, but most importantly, it turned Nekros into one tanky, extremely survivable motherfucker. Put some armor bypassing weapons in his hands and he can easily go past an hour in a solo void survival. All the little tweaks they made to him, from his toggleable despoil to Shadows of the Dead selecting the toughest enemies you've killed, as well as its recast healing your shadows and teleporting them to you, really turned him into a force to be reckoned with. Moving along to number 3, we've got Mesa. Okay, so this is the quintessential Rob is doing way too much with mechanics. After discovering the Rage Shatter Shield Arcane Grace combo that I featured in her Showdown build, I was completely in love. Not only could she stand toe-to-toe with some of the tankier frames, but she was the perfect candidate to trigger Arcane Grace. Combine that with Rage, and now she's got the perfect way to stay fueled during Peacemaker, which was also reworked this year to pull in mods from her secondary weapons, making her damage output even more potent. So not only can she quickly thin down a crowd, but she can easily go head to head with some of the toughest enemies in game. Coming in at number 2 is Titania. Now honestly, how could she not be on my list? A prime target for fashion frame, Arcwing on demand, loads of CC, and a very interesting way to provide group buffs reserve her spot on the list. On the supportive end of the spectrum, with full stacks, she can reduce enemy accuracy by 50%, reflect back 20% of the damage enemies deal, and slow them by 25%. All whilst mesmerizing enemies with Lantern or levitating them with Spellbind. On the offensive end of the spectrum, her Dex Pixie's time to kill against level 145 Bombards actually beats out a Tigris Prime, not to mention the fact that it provides you with 6 decoys and 50% evasion. Wrap that all up in a gorgeous base skin as well as a beautiful holiday skin, and there is no denying that that queen was made for this queen. Now before we get to my favorite Warframe of the year, let's take a look at the ones that almost made my list. Barely edged out was Nekros, coming in at number 6. Y'all know how I love unique mechanics, and the fact that he busted in as a shieldless tank that relied on CC, invincibility frames, and lifesteal to stay in the game, and I was all about it. His mix of skills almost made him feel like a cross between a paladin and a shadow knight, and I am really curious to see what kind of deluxe skin they'll come up for him. At number 7 comes the Wicked Witch of Warframe himself. Bolt's rework this year did a ton for his usability, giving him enough CC to make him a feasible pick for more difficult missions. Add in his ability to pick up his shield, and now you can add front-facing invulnerability into the mix. Last but not least is Ashe at number 8. Yes, I am shocked. First Vault, now Ashe. But this year it was really the small things that helped Ashe out in a big way. First came the addition of his passive, which strengthened his slash procs, making him a beast at bypassing armor with many of the slash-based weapons that were released this year, such as the Tigris Prime and the Legion. Then with the release of the Venka Prime with its custom multiplier coupled with Relentless Combination made Bladestorm even more effective. Toss on the addition of that Coca skin and he has definitely got my attention. Alrighty, so as some of you may have guessed, Nidus makes it in at number 1 as my favorite frame of the year, aside from Lowkey of course. Now, my big thing with Nidus is how well he scales. The damage redux from Parasitic Leak is percentage based. The CC from Larva disregards level completely, and both Virulence and Ravenous scale incredibly well with his adaptation stacks. Now, the magic behind this is, the more difficult an enemy is to kill, the more times you're gonna have to hit them with Virulence, which results in more energy refunded for you to reuse it, and also adds to your mutation stacks, which ramps up your damage and makes it easier to kill them. So it's this perfect balance that allows you to scale your damage up to an enemy's difficulty fairly quickly. Then, as it gets more effective, its ability to kill improves, but its ability to build stacks tapers off, leaving you with this perfect equilibrium. And it's this kind of mechanical harmony that I totally get moist over. Combine that with the first time we can dress to kill an environment, alongside an evolving aesthetic, and it is undeniable that this year Nidus claims his spot as my favorite frame of 2016. Now, as always, I'm gonna end this in the same scripting tradition as I have for the last 3 years. So don't get all pissy and sensitive and shit. This is just a thing that we do, okay? So thank you all for watching this episode of The Hit List. If you disagree, you can go suck a dick. Because this is my list. This is my list. But I encourage the rest of you to leave a list of your favorites in the comments below. Now, if you haven't already checked it out, I will leave you a playlist that includes all of this year's hit lists, as well as one that contains a log of my Warframe builds. So don't forget to do all the things that I asked you to do at the end of every one of these. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next year. Bye-bye!